The Rauatai powder house has been destroyed, along with probably quite a few Rauatai who got in the way of us, or didn't get far enough away from the explosion. Yep, that's something my soul will have to pay for, as it wasn't exactly an honorable thing to do, acting as a murdering saboteur. But if that were the case, then every soldier or even drafted peasant would also be guilty in a time of war. We kill and destroy because we do so to win, and it's not always honorable or fair. Yeah, I started this war. At least I hope I started it. It was all for the Huana and for the people who rightfully should control the Deadfire. That was about the biggest explosion and fire I have seen since, well, the Godhammer bomb when we were in Rimmergen's realm. I hope my actions allow Queen Onekaza II's forces and myself and my crew and the Watcher to go where we need to in Ondra's Mortar. Or we could be in for one tough fight, considering the power of the Rauataian fleet. Ancient Ukaizo beckons. However, there was another thing that just took place on the way to see the Queen from the Powder House, having Boudica tell me that she was disappointed in my actions, and allowing me the opportunity to tell her to go and shove it was most gratifying. She's had that coming forever, but for me personally, it was when I discovered that she was the primary god behind Theos. It did feel quite good to tell her off like that. The only issue I can now see with starting the war was after hearing what Hasanu Ikaru, who leads the Rauatai in the Deadfire, had to say about the sabotage. It almost makes me think that they might make peace with the Valians if the Huana place Director Castle in prison. However, Kith tend to keep their true intentions and thoughts hidden in times like these. I have no idea what the Rauatai will actually do, but let's just hope it is to start attacking the Valians. Right now, the Queen wishes to speak to me in private now, so off we go. Alright, you wanted to speak to me.
The Valian serpent has lost its head, the Rauataian shark its teeth. We have made it too costly for either of them to tarry in the Deadfire.
The Queen grins with a fierce pride.
I would not be so confident. A wounded behemoth is often the most dangerous.
He twists at the helm of his garment, clearly on edge.
The trials ahead will make this seem the scattering of toy soldiers. But in the eyes of history, your work will be the death knell of their incursion. We are united in the search for Ukaizo. You will go with the full support of the crown, after Aethys and the homeland of the Huana. When my people know their past, their future will soon follow.
The Queen grins fiercely and favors me with a nod. Has any of this maneuvering made a difference? Because I'm finding it hard to see, since the Rauatai sort of made up with the Valians, in that their leader Director Castle was put in the dungeon.
If the Hazanui must report of resources gone to waste, it will have been worth it. If the Valians are discredited and cut off from the homeland, it will have been worth it.
Yeah, but these are just minor pricks.
If we could accomplish both at once.
The Queen tilts her head and head back and sighs.
All that remains is for us to pave the way to lost Ukaizo.
Onekaza closes her eyes and nods, their mere words a refreshment.
With every high tide, I ask Nagati if we are ready. She always leaves me to answer for myself.
Onekaza's lips part in a smile.
Ukaizo looms on the horizon, bringing the past with the future. Together, we will show the Huana how to cross it. I have always known that Ukaizo was no myth.
She balls her fists into her lap, squeezing tightly.
Just as I knew that Nagati's chosen would lead the way.
She inclines her head to Tekehu. He nods to Onekaza, wearing an uncertain frown, and simply waits for the moment to pass.
Take the helm of your ship, Captain. My fleet will follow, and water shapers will clear the way through Ondra's Mortar.
Okay, the fleet will follow and the water shapers will clear the way through Ondra's Mortar.
And the enemy's fleet, if it comes to that.
Onekaza narrows her eyes on the horizon and nods to herself.
May Amira's feather grant you favorable wind, and may Tangaloa open its jaws to our enemies.
She covers her heart with one hand and touches her forehead with the other. Well, that's just it. That's why I sabotaged the Rauatai and blamed the Valians, so they would fight amongst each other and not be stopping us from going to Ukaizo. If they both come at us, then I've really done very much to stop this, or make this easier, have I? We go to Ukaizo. Back to sea. Back to the Watcher. I guess we go northeast. Well, it seems like there's... Rauatai are ahead of us, actually. Okay, so if the Rauatai are there, maybe we can go around, because they... Oh, the coral. There's only one way. They may intercept us as soon as we try to go through there. Let's go. As far as I know, all the bounties are done. Can't map the archipelago until we get up there again, on the other side. The hunt for Aethys. That is the only thing that matters. Ukaizo is located far to the northeast of Neketaka. The only way to reach it is by way of the Ophestia Channel, a natural gateway leading between the crags of Magrin's Teeth and into the storms of Ondra's Mortar. Aethys is going to the legendary island of Ukaizo to disrupt or destroy Eora's cycle of reincarnation. Only by following him there can I confront him directly. Well, I like the destroying the gods part, but not the reincarnation part. But as I said, it happened before without the wheel. We're just going to have to hope that we'll be able to do it again. Although, like I said, also said that we may experience a lot of Hollowborn. It might even be worse than where it was back in the Durwood. The wind carries an unusual sound to my ears. Hope it's not the gods trying to speak to me. A distant roar reaches me from across the water, raising the hair on the back of my neck. And Menini gapes. Gods alive. Have yourself a look at that. Oswald thrusts a finger into the air. It's a god's damn dragon. A massive winged reptile sweeps over the Watcher, throwing the deck into shadow and setting the sails to billow and snap. I suppose this could have been sent by the gods, maybe Gallowayne. Look alive or look dead, lads and lasses, Beodo barks. Furl the sails, ready the powder for wetting. The dragon banks in the distance, cutting a line across the horizon, and I can just make out the figure of a rider upon its back. There's a rider on there. Believe the order. We'll find out what they want before we start scrambling to our defenses. My crew scrambles across the deck as the beast's approach slows. Who is this? The dragon stops above the Watcher, the wind from its wings buffeting me as its rider peers down imperiously. She dismounts, slipping from the dragon's back and into the air. I hope she wants to talk, and this isn't some kind of attack, but if it was, I would have thought she'd remain on the dragon.
Watcher of Cadnua, if I might have a moment of your time.
Some godlike. Alright. I recognize the striking figure before me as the Archmage Lengrath. Part of the Archmages, huh? I thought we had a pact. What are you doing here?
I'm not here to harm you. I've come with a request.
I've got a job to do, something probably the most important one in my life, other than that final battle with Theos.
I seek a truant member of the Circle of Archmagi, Maura. She sent rather cryptic word that she'd found something of cataclysmic potential in the Black Isles. Something that could aid you in the fight against Eothas.
Black Isles? Huh. Never heard of it. I thought it was Obsidian now.
You've aided the Circle of Archmagi once before. We've found ourselves wondering if you might do so again.
Why doesn't the Circle of Archmagi ever solve these world-threatening crises?
Perhaps we solve more than you think. Perhaps we simply don't advertise to the common kith how often Eora comes to the brink of destruction.
Why would I want to help you? There's a 700-foot-tall problem that needs my attention.
I'd have thought self-preservation and the lure of knowledge would be enough to entice the famous Watcher.
Self-preservation? What are you talking about?
But if not, perhaps Maura is correct. Maybe there is something to the south that can be turned against Eothas.
I don't want to turn against Eothas.
What if you can turn the tide?
Wait, who's Maura?
A Huana wizard, and a member of the Circle of Archmagi.
Lengrath gives me a pained expression.
She specializes in magic involving tentacles. It's a niche field.
He grimaces. If I can find the time, I'll look into it. Right now, I've got more pressing matters. I don't plan to stop Eothas.
Don't take your time deciding.
Lengrath frowns. Her gaze turns to the horizon.
Maura's drive is frightening, foolhardy, and her love of the Deadfire uncompromising. If she's found some method of stopping Eothas, we must make sure she doesn't destroy Eora in an attempt to save her archipelago. I will await you in the Black Isles, a volcanic chain in the southeastern sea, due south of Tikawara. Don't tarry over long, Watcher.
As Lengrath steps from the railing, her dragon sweeps beneath her, catching her up. The great reptile's wings dig into the air, and it rapidly recedes towards the horizon. Lengrath seated steadily on its back. Little Luca looks to me, ready to chart a course when you are, Captain. What is this about her destroying Eora to save the Deadfire? Look, I can't really deal with that right now. Where are these so-called Black Isles? She said south of Tikawara. Is it this island here? Hall of the Unseen, but we've been there. Pokakahara Ruins. Well, we've already been through all these places. She said, did she not say southeast of Tikawara? Yeah, one thing at a time. We will go and deal with Eothas, and then maybe I can ride south to wherever this woman is. Mara. We'll see what's going on with that. But for now, Eothas needs to be dealt with. Needs to be helped, and we need to find our way. First we need to get to Ukaizo, where Eothas supposedly is. Now, if I thought I had to fight Eothas, then this would be a different trip. I would be going south. But it's occurred to me that maybe I can use it to help Eothas if Eothas ever gets overwhelmed. I'm being pursued. Rathoons are after me? Attempt to flee. I've successfully escaped my pursuer. Well, I know that they're in the area, but a lot of things to happen right now. Maybe they know I'm in league with Eothas. There's more of an opening to the east side, but that doesn't mean that they'll allow me to go that way. There is plenty of ocean to sail and many lands to explore, but what lies ahead of me dwarfs them all. Should I choose to sail on, I suspect there will be no return. Not to the Deadfire, I have come to know. We'll continue forward. I set a course through the channel and into uncharted, turbulent seas. Ondra's mortar rages on the horizon, a vast wall of roiling clouds and rain, punctuated by the silver flicker of lightning. The wind pushes against me as if to ward whatever lies beyond from the Watcher's approach. The Watcher leads the fleet, crashing through the turbulent waters like an axe through armor. "God's alive," Beodo mutters, staring up at the storm. Little Luca blinks at the blackening sky. Knew an old salt once who claimed the Mortar were the edge of the world. I called him a fool. Now, though? The navigator's head shakes sadly. Now I ain't so certain. Okay, keep steady. We're gonna get through this. Head bowed slightly, Eld Engram smiles. Today is as good a day as any to learn what the gods have in store for us. "Shit, Captain," one of the hands cries. "Hostile vessels inbound to forward port." With a shake of the head, Beodo emits a grim chuckle. Suppose it'd be too much to ask to be let alone out here? The cross cannons of the Royal Deadfire Company flutter and crack atop the masts of the approaching warships, each vessel bristling with heavy guns. I really hope Mayaru is not on one of these ships. The approaching fleet numbers at least as many ships as our own, and maybe more. Those ships would be a lot more powerful against these Huana ships. Beodo frowns against the wind. "The fleet's turning, Captain, setting their gun ports against the enemy." Waving her hat overhead, Amenene whoops eagerly. Finally, some goddamn excitement. The hands look to me from their stations. Beodo's eyes hold mine. The crew stands ready. What are the captain's orders? Inspect the fleet. Prince Aruhi's personal ship leads the vanguard of the Huana fleet, flanked by a dozen voyagers and backed by another half-dozen ships of varied make. Tribal banners dance above the vessels, and each pontoon bears the painted designs unique to its crew. Archers and sharpshooters stand at the rails, and robed water shapers crown each ship's bow, their ritualized movements smoothing the sea before the fleet. The persistent heartbeat of drums rise from the voyagers, and 100 voices chant my name. Keldon Zatha, Keldon Zatha, Keldon Zatha. Wahaki war canoes churn the water among the voyagers, each craft crowded with face-painted warriors singing against the storm. Study the enemy. 20 Rauataian junks plow towards us in perfect formation, their angular sails full, each armored vessel a deadly work of art, sporting a dozen bronze cannons. Soldiers stand at attention on the decks, rifles resting upon their shoulders. Well, if it wasn't for the water shapers on the Huana ships, I would say that they stand no chance, but they've done damage to the Rauatai before. They sunk their capital ship in the wars, what was that, 20 years back? Well, really depends on the water shapers. And the thing is, we're surrounded by this massive storm. Well, not surrounded, it's to the north, but if they could bring that against the Rauatai fleet, they may be able to cause massive destruction. I don't really want to leave them to their own fate, though. I'll look over my companions. Adair puffs on his pipe as he observed the enemy fleet from end to end. After taking full accounting of the array of ships, he ashes his pipe, puts it away, and looks to me with a cheerful shrug. Aloth is paging through his grimoire, a look of calm concentration on his face. He meets my eye and smiles faintly. And don't forget that we have Aloth and Takehu and even Shoti. With their magic, they could do a lot of damage as well. Especially if we board a ship. Shoti raises her lantern before her like a shield of light. It flares once brightly in response, and she nods to me, ready. Despite her bravado, I notice a slight trembling in her hand. The cage of her lantern rattles as Shoti waits for the battle to begin. Takehu is clutching a lock of his hair and rubbing it between his fingers, unconsciously falling back on an old habit of self-comfort. A thin bead of ink trickles like sweat down the side of his neck. As he stares out at the fleet, the horror in his gaze seems far beyond his years. When he notices me looking, he winks and beams a confident smile. But you've already glimpsed his true feelings. All hands at battle stations were joining the fray. The deck vibrates as cannon fire erupts, from enemy and ally alike, filling the air with hot, hissing metal, the banks of thick gray smoke. Bealdo grasps my arm and thrusts a finger out towards the sea. They're coming at us, full sail and with the wind at their back. A small, fast ship has broken ranks with the Rauatai fleet and bears down upon me. Heavily armed Amawa warriors stand at the ready on the vessel decks, their eyes focused on my ship. Bring us about, all hands prepare for combat. It's a junk, and their crew is much larger. Let's see if we can't, let's see if we can't fight them a bit with our guns. So, turn to starboard. Remember, they're a junk too, so they're going to maneuver just as slowly as we do. Fire the port cannons. I don't just want to sink, I want to take people out, so... Grape shot targets an enemy ship above deck crew and has a low chance of dealing sail damage. Chain shot. Okay, that's meant for the enemy sails. So, grape shot. Let's fire. Three hits. We heard quite a few of them, actually. Now it's our turn to get shot at. What? They've turned away. Okay, so... they're too far. Rauatai's fist retreats from us, its crew frantically unfurling its remaining sails to catch the wind. Soon the ship is little more than a speck on the horizon. They're left alone on the high seas, so they fled. The rumble of cannons provides a steady percussive accompaniment to the choral screams of the dying. The deck pitches and rolls with the twisting of the sea, and smoke drifts lazily across the choppy waves. Ondra's mortar churns to the east, the shifting clouds and shimmering curtains of rain hypnotic. One of my crew fixes me a frown. Ain't over yet, Captain. The mate gestures out across the water. A pair of colossal galleons flank Prince Aruhi's Voyager. As the mercenary ships close on my ally, they pound the smaller vessel with repeated rounds of cannon fire. Ogre corsairs wave heavy clubs from the galleon's decks, impatient to board the Huana craft. Aruhi's ship is about to be overwhelmed. My orders, Captain? Takehu swallows and turns to me. Unleash the wahaki on the galleons. The wahaki canoes slip up against one of the galleons, the Amawa lashing their boats to either side of the ogre vessel before leaping aboard. The screams of the doomed ogres cling to the water. With one ogre ship accounted for, Prince Aruhi's water shapers waste little time rolling the other, sending wilder plunging into the sea. The rising winds do nothing to clear the obscuring haze of choking smoke. Popping gunfire punctuates the timpani roll of cannons, and the shouts of desperate sailors vie with the screams of the dying. Enemy and ally alike disappear into the morass, which glows from within, illuminated by burning wrecks. Quite a dramatic scene we are watching. A ship looms out of the darkness to port, and its crew call warnings in their desperate attempt to avoid a collision. They fail, and the Watcher heaves as the enemy vessel slides along its broadside. Another craft appears directly ahead. With no room to maneuver, the Watcher grinds up against it, sandwiched between the two enemy ships. We're trapped. Keldon Zatha, we're being boarded, Aloth calls. Pouring out of the haze, a squad of Rauatai troops cross the collected decks, firearms at the ready. As I said, I really hope we don't fight Mayarua. Hope she's not even here in this battle. But we can deal with borders. What is with the luminous Ondra? Oops. Okay. Well, I've got two ships right up against us, but there's luminous Ondra here. Okay, so do we see anything? No, anything of note. Weather Mage. There's a captain over there. It's recognized as Captain Masquero. I don't see Maya. Oh, we'll have to fight our way through this then.
Hey, watch out.
Adair, you of course go first.
Hit me again and I'll hit you.
They've got a mage over there, and we are taking hits. Your most powerful spell, if you please, Olaf. Deal with him.
Now it's about as useful as a bump on a pickle.
Okay, Shodi, heals up.
We're dropping like flies.
Takeu. Use your magic here. Please? You don't have to move that close. Take them down.
Can't move.
This may hurt.
Is that you?
This this may hurt on top of everything.
All things must come to an end.
Shodi, just stop it.
Oh, good.
Aloth, we are waiting for that spell of yours.
I'm stuck.
I wish I could.
Aloth, get the hell over there right
No
now.
trouble at all.
Okay, so Aloth is not helping at all.
I am
This is
seeing
futile. Just like me.
We can't afford another loss.
All things. Come to an end. Even now.
Fight on, Joti!
I hope nobody saw that.
Rather
I'm having
difficult
some
to
trouble moving
concentrate.
through this.
Keeps getting paralyzed. He cannot keep casting his spells.
Hey,
Okay, you gotta take down the soldier. There. Take out that bloody mage.
we're friends.
Oh, now you cast it.
I trust you.
Hey, we took a little bit of pain there. Especially Takeu. The Watcher limps away from the broken wrecks to gather behind and breaks free of the bank of smoke. In the distance, Ondra's mortar rages, nothing between us and our goal. To aft, the Deadfire Company's fleet lies scattered and broken, the remaining junks fleeing west towards Magran's Teeth and Sayuka beyond. Bealdo claps me on the back. We did it, Captain. The captain did it, more like, little Luca says, wiping away sweat and soot with a rag. We're just along for the ride. Oswald chuckles, but glances towards Ondra's mortar. Not that we're out of this yet. Still, Beldul shouts, 3 cheers for the captain! 3 cheers for the watcher! The crew shouts, hollers, howls, and whoops. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.